this event to share out. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. But again, welcome everyone. We hope everyone's having a great start to their Wednesday. Welcome to the GENup 2023 Legislative Policy Unveiling. We're so excited for you all to be here today. We have an incredible list and rosters of elected officials who have graciously committed their time to be here today as well. Close to about 20 legislators, as well as some recorded remarks from our State Superintendent, Tony Thurmond, and Secretary of State, Dr. Shirley Weber. Today's event is really just to kick off and highlight the youth work that we're really leading here around California education policy. And we're so grateful for you all to join us today, and hopefully we'll come together and really procreate a fantastic and productive legislative cycle. We'll be going over some of the bills today and highlighting just a couple, but intermittently throughout the event, we'll be sending out the policy slate document in the Zoom chat that you can look at to get a more comprehensive slate. But we have over 8 of our student-written bills that were introduced into the legislature this year, as well as over 40 plus bills on our slate this year that we're co-sponsoring or supporting. So we're so excited that you could join us all here today. And we're going to kick it off with a brief recorded message from Secretary Weber.
Hello, I am California Secretary of State, Dr. Shirley Weber. And once again, I'm honored to be here with you today to speak on the importance of being civically engaged. Sorry I couldn't be there with you in person, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that I supported GENup and the work that you're doing everywhere throughout the state. I commend GENup for their dedication of empowering young people to become effective advocates for education policy reform. All students gathered today have demonstrated the power of youth voices and the importance of student engagement, civic engagement at all levels of the democratic process. My office collaborated with GENup for the 2021 National Voter Education Week, the call to action video to encourage young people to pre-register and to register to vote. I look forward to continuing to work with GENup to build a more inclusive and equitable education system in California. Because working together, we can ensure that every student has access to the resources and the opportunities they need to succeed, and that every voice in California is heard in the area of policymaking. If you have questions regarding our college civic engagement efforts, please contact our Student Vote Project team at caststudentvotes@sos.ca.gov. So congratulations to GENup for your youth civic engagement effort. I'm always proud to be here for you and to work with you, and enjoy the rest of your program.
All right. Thank you so much, Secretary Weber, for that fantastic video message. To kick it off and get right to it, I'm going to pass it over to Assemblymember Chris Ward to start off. So Assemblymember Chris Ward, feel free to take it away.
Well, hey, thanks so much. I really appreciate being here with you. Excited to see so many students leading the social justice organization and all your activities as a coalition to advocate for education through the power of youth voices. I know GENup has been utilizing a lot of strategic approaches for legislating for action and lobby, and you're right at the right time. There's a lot going on up here at your state capitol with many advocacy groups doing very much the same. I know that here today I wanted to talk about one bill that you have been a critical part of as well, because it's going to help students across California. So one of my bills, and by the way, I should have mentioned my name is Chris Ward, represent District 78, which is like central San Diego, within the city of San Diego, city of El Cajon. If you've ever been down around Balboa Park or some of our central neighborhoods, I'm the representative. But partnering with GENup and a lot of other youth organizations, Assembly Bill 275, it's the main co-sponsor is the California Student Board Member Association. So you know that student board members play a really critical role on our education boards, whether it's the County Board of Education, sometimes our community college district boards. Because that student voice is essential so that you are participating, you are getting that information to the school district trustees as they make all these critical decisions. Yet, despite all of these important responsibilities, the current law in our state statute actually prohibits them from any compensation for their work. Now, here with our values as a legislature, certainly the values I want to lead on through this bill, we want to make sure that work is fairly compensated. Your time matters. And more importantly, this makes sure that anybody that is doing work through board responsibilities, that they're not having to compete for that opportunity where they otherwise might actually have to be holding down a part-time job or otherwise saving for college. We want to make sure that work is compensated as it should be, so it'll fairly support through this bill. It will empower more students to participating in these school boards, in these county boards of education, through this option to compensate student board members for their time and for their work. I think it respects student board members, and so far we are looking really good. We got it through the full assembly. So right now it's over to the state Senate. That's great. And I really want to thank we are able to do that because of your advocacy, because you're raising these issues, because you're calling your representatives from across the state of California. And so I know together we're going to get bills like this and so many you're going to hear about tonight onto the governor's desk. Thank you so much for your advocacy.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Ward, for joining us and for being here today. And we're so excited to work with you and the rest of students across California on fighting for student board member rights. Next up, I'm going to pass it over to Assemblymember Gibson.
Alvin, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much for GENup and all the work that you guys do day in and day out is absolutely important. I want to thank Dr. Shirley Weber, who was one of my colleagues now serving as the Secretary of State, and also my colleague who serves as the pro tem of the California State Assembly, Chris Ward. Let me say that I represent communities of Watts, Willowbrook, where I was born and raised, Compton, Carson, Wilmington, North Long Beach, Harbor Gateway, North and South, Harbor City, Wilmington, and also San Pedro. That makes up about 500,000 people that I'm honored and blessed to represent. And I thank the voters. I thank the voters for one, sending me to Sacramento to do the work that they expect me to do. But I also want to thank you guys and Alvin for your tremendous leadership on so many cutting edges causes around education. And I want to elevate you and the work that not only you do, but the team that surrounds you. And very, very briefly, because I know that I have a number of my colleagues who are waiting to also speak about some of the bills. I'm carrying a number of bills, 28 bills, introduced 3 in the extraordinary session, and also 25 in this year's session. So 28 bills total. And yesterday was just a absolute busy day. I didn't know whether or not I was coming or going. That's how busy we were here in Sacramento. But I wanted to touch base on 2 very specific bills. One, AB 694, which would make it easier for students to enter into apprenticeship programs, especially those who want to go into education. This bill streamlines the process for anyone interested in participating in the teacher residency program and ensuring them to be paid and also prepared to enter into the classroom. And so this bill got out of the Assembly Education Committee. I'm very grateful. And this bill also received bipartisan support. Another bill that probably you guys don't even know about, and I'm going to talk about something that's absolutely foreign because you're so young, right? When I was growing up in school, we had 2 electives in middle school or junior high school, and we could choose between the shops, wood shop, metal shop, and things of that nature. Well, we've taken them out of public or schools in California. When we did this almost 30 years ago, what happened was the prison pipeline opened up. There was a number of studies from Davis and Loyola have also studied that when we did this, the prison pipeline opened up because we did not give students who were graduating from high school the trade, the skill set to go into jobs who are not going to community colleges or a 4-year university of higher learning. And so what I want to do is reintroduce and make it mandated, all schools in California reintroduce these critical skill jobs called career technical education skills. And what that would do is prepare individuals for the emerging technology that is existing here in California, that employers cannot hire people because they're not trained in this particular field. Everyone is not going to go to college, and let's be real. We understand that. We want to encourage everyone to go to college because we made this this legislative body has made college free for community college. But we know that that's not in people's grasp. But we must make sure that we have an opportunity to train those to be to go into auto mechanic, where it's digitalized, making sure they're prepared to go into that workforce, plumbers and electricians. It still gives those individuals 6 figures and also being able to get a piece of the American dream. So that bill is Assembly Bill 1189 that is poised to go to the Education Committee. I look forward to engaging the conversation and talking about this bill. We have a lot of support, even including and not limiting to the Superintendent of Public Education. Our Superintendent, Tony Thurman, is also supporting this particular bill. So we want to do this to prepare young people for the emerging technology and the jobs so they can win, so they can grow, and so they can be in a career that's going to give them the piece of the American dream. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I look forward to continue to work with you on areas that we can help elevate your voice in the work that you do here in California. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Gibson, for joining us here today. We look forward to working with you as well on your incredible slate. Next up, we have Assemblymember Connolly. So, Assemblymember, feel free to take it away.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Amazing to see you today, and thanks for the invitation. My name is Damon Connolly. I represent Assembly District 12, which is Marin and Sonoma counties in the Bay Area. I'm a new Assembly member, one of 20 freshmen this year. It's the most diverse, most women class, actually legislature in California history of all time. And our new class really reflects that. A bunch of amazing folks from different backgrounds. I come from local government. I was a county supervisor, San Rafael City Council member, and school board member before that. When my 2 daughters were younger, and have always worked closely with our youth. Really locally where I'm from, our youth have always been on the cutting edge of social justice, climate change, economic inequality. So as you can well imagine, in this new role, I've really been looking for ways to make sure that our youth voice is heard, and that there is a lot of youth involvement in state government. So really proud to be working with Generation Up on a bill that you're sponsoring with my office, AB 1274, which would help improve the function of our state government, encourage more young Californians to begin careers as public servants. And I should mention, I was really proud earlier in my career to actually work in state government. I was with the California Attorney General's office. I'm a lawyer by trade as well, and really found that public service to be meaningful. Young people, again, just to reiterate, are more engaged than ever. You bring skills to the table like emerging technology, social media, data analysis, that are essential to modern day governance. And we want to make sure that our government continues to be well equipped to meet those challenges. California needs to be in the lead, am I right? Nationwide. And that's really one thing that I am attracted to by serving in this body. AB 1274, real briefly, will require the governor to convene and appoint a blue ribbon commission on young Californians' inclusion that would work with state and local agencies to audit programs relating to engaging young Californians, performing a statewide assessment on inclusion in state government. So look forward to working more with you on this. As some of you may know, it's a 2-year bill. Now there's going to be a lot more discussion, a lot more input on it, but could not do it without your support. And I'm hoping that's just the beginning of working together on behalf of the Golden State. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Connolly, for joining us. And we're really excited to work with you in partnership on AB 1274 to bring youth voice and youth engagement across our state government. Next up, I'm going to pass it over to Kim and our collegiate team to go over the collegiate policy slate.
Hi, yes, thank you, Alvin. We are so appreciative of everyone for coming out today. I'm Kim Wu. I'm a senior at UC Berkeley, and I'm the director of GENup Collegiate. We have amazing bills to talk about with you all today that all empower youth in higher education policy, and we'll also pass it off to K through 12. We have 5 GENup written bills that we'd like to talk with you all today and really emphasize and uplift those voices. Right now, I'll pass it off to George to talk about our student aid slate.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Kim. This year, we are really focused on ensuring equitable college access on a number of fronts. A really important one is student housing. This is by far the largest portion of the cost of attending college for many students. We're also working on a number of bills around financial aid, streamlining the application process, ensuring that students have enough aid to attend college, no matter their financial background. And to kick us off, I'm going to pass it off to Assemblymember Garcia to talk a little bit about student housing.
Hello, everyone. I'm here checking in live from Mexico City, the Casa California, which is the house research center for the UC system that supports all of the grad students and PhD students doing research in Mexico and Latin America, and of course, all of the student abroad programs here at a climate change conference, not at a nightclub, but at a climate change conference. I hear a little beat going on. They're getting ready for the next panel where we'll have Ambassador Ken Salazar talking about collaboration with Mexico on climate. But look, I wanted just to highlight the importance of the housing conversation as it relates to students. And I want to thank you all. And I see some familiar faces here who are at the forefront of championing this bill as it relates to improving housing circumstances for students at the community college, the Cal States, and the UCs. We know that the fiscal burden for folks going to college isn't just the cost of college, tuition, books, etc. It's all of the ancillary costs, and housing being one of them. We know that we have a huge housing crisis in California, and we cannot forget about specific constituencies. In this case, we're talking about our students. Thank you for this student-led effort with AB 1630. We continue the dialogue with the chair of housing and other colleagues of mine to make sure that this bill can move forward. It's an opportunity to create incentives, streamline the process to build a much needed housing for our students in the university system and the colleges. So again, from Mexico City, talking climate, but also you cannot talk about climate sustainability without talking about housing and affordability. So thank you for having us. It's good to be a part of this conversation with all of my other colleagues that have already spoken. And again, thank you for your hard work. There has been no movement in this country's history that has not been led by students. Social change movement, social justice movements, they've all been spearheaded by students. And this movement to build more housing for students in college is being led by students. And I'm confident we're going to have a successful outcome. Good to see you all. Hope you're all well, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Assemblymember Garcia. Now we'll move on to one of our bills that we helped write, Assembly Bill 456, and then we'll move on to the Assemblymember Manshine as well. And definitely appreciate you guys, Assemblymember Garcia, for uplifting the importance of housing. So today, good afternoon. My name is Kim again, senior at UC Berkeley, director of GENup Collegiate, and I want to thank everyone so much for coming out to hear about GENup's policy slate today. As a proud principal, writer, and sponsor, GENup advocates for Assembly Bill 456 to foster an open and trusting community of mental health awareness by establishing mental health hotlines at every university. For reference, I remember calling my own university's mental health center in 2019. After years of masking my mental health breakdowns on the drive to school with a forced smile and shaky whispers of, "I'm okay," I finally mustered the courage to seek help for my depression at my university. Now, imagine my devastation and helplessness when I did not even receive a call back from my university's mental health center. We as a community have an obligation to take that extra step of our students so that we can access the help that we need from our peers who can empathize by being in the same college environment, and we can grow in a community that will give us our most basic needs so that we can support our academic development and most importantly, our personal happiness. Thank you so much to Assemblymember Manshine, Jacqueline from the Assemblymember's office for authoring this bill and working with student voices. And thank you to all our partners and everyone who came out here today to support us. We truly can't do any of this without y'all. And I'm so honored and proud to be working with such hardworking and passionate individuals on GENup to prioritize our mental well-being and to empower youth in our decisions that directly affect us. Thank you so much. So without further ado, I'm going to let Alvin screen share Assemblymember Manshine's video. Assemblymember Brian Manshine has represented California's 76th district since 2012, and he currently sits as the chair of the Assembly Judiciary Committee. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Assemblymember Brian Manshine. I'm so happy to have you here today and really pleased to talk to you about AB 456, which I authored, which would have community colleges and state colleges have a hotline available for individuals with mental health issues, whatever those issues may be. They can call the hotline and then they can get directed to the help that they need. We know it's a difficult time in today's society. We know it's difficult coming out of COVID. There's a whole host of pressures and issues that young people are facing. And so to have this hotline available to them as they go through the college experience, I think is very helpful and very good for our college students. So thank you, GENup, for the support. Look forward to working with you as we get this bill passed. Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Assemblymember Manshine. I guess we'll move on to Ali, who is going to be speaking on to our Assembly Bill 624 speech. Ali, you're currently muted.
Hi, my name is Allison Chan, and I'm the GENup Collegiate Chief of Staff. As the proud principal writer and sponsor, GENup advocates for Assembly Bill 624 in order to promote accessibility for student academic accommodations on college campuses. While receiving accommodation should be a straightforward process, students who are unable to access necessary documentation from licensed physicians, psychologists, or other qualified professionals may feel disincentivized to reach out for help, experience delays, or even be unable to receive accommodations completely. Learning disability assessments range from $500 to $2,500, a cost not always covered by insurance plans. For college students, this is a huge financial barrier that limits their ability to access needed accommodations for their academic success. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, among students who responded that they did have a disability while attending college, 37% of students actually informed their college, which shows how a lack of access discourages these students from seeking help. This lack of access speaks to a larger system of disregarding disabled students and sweeping the issue under the rug, and we must do more to support our students with AB 624. Without further ado, we'd like to share Assemblymember Grayson's video. Assemblymember Timothy Grayson has represented the 15th Assembly District since November 2016 and currently sits as the chair of the Assembly Banking and Finance Committee.
Good evening, GENup Collegiate. I am Assemblymember Tim Grayson, and it is an absolute honor to join you all virtually for your Youth Policy Slate Unveiling. I'd like to first start by saying thank you for your leadership and advocacy in fighting for educational equity and justice. Your hard work ensures that student voices are heard and that education is truly inclusive, accessible, and available to all. That is why I am proud to author AB 624 and stand in strong solidarity with you all. AB 624 supports students living with disabilities by requiring institutions to cover the cost of diagnostic assessments as proof for academic accommodations. I believe that universities and colleges must support all students regardless of their disability and provide them with the necessary resources for them to thrive and to receive the care they need to attend college and be academically successful. Again, I thank you all for your leadership and advocacy on this important issue. Your presence here is a testament to the power of collective action and the importance of advocating for policies that stand to benefit many lives. Please know that my door is always open to you. I'm here to help.
Thank you so much for that, Assemblymember Grayson. Definitely appreciate all of that youth empowerment and for uplifting youth in especially all youth regardless of disabilities. We'll now move on to another bill that we wrote, Assembly Bill 461, to include fentanyl test strips on every single college campus. I will be speaking on behalf of Ashton Bautista, who serves as a GENup Collegiate Director of Communications. She sends her regrets for not being able to be here today because she is currently in class. So good afternoon. My name is Ashlyn Bautista. I'm a second year at UC San Diego and work as a GENup Director of Communications. As a proud principal, writer, and sponsor, GENup advocates for AB 461. To foster an open and safer campus community of harm reduction awareness and aid, AB 461 works to include fentanyl test strips on college campuses, as well as training and education for them. Speaking from my own life, I come from a family and have friends that have a history of struggling with addiction. Sadly, in January 2020, a close friend of mine lost his battle and passed away from a drug overdose. But unfortunately, my story isn't a rarity. Many young adults are told to just stop or ashamed when it comes to issues like drug addictions. Unfortunately, we are not informed on any resources to support us through these issues, which further contributes to the stigma around drug addiction. AB 461 is a crucial bill in promoting harm reduction rather than shame, and thus gives all individuals equitable health services regardless if they struggle with addiction or not. While we will miss Assemblymember Ramos from our event today, we thank you so much to Assemblymember Ramos, Jacob from the Assemblymember's office for authoring this bill and also welcoming student voices. We deeply appreciate the support and community from everyone here today. And please know that y'all are why GENup is proud to advocate for youth as youth themselves. I'm so happy to be working with such hardworking, passionate individuals to prioritize our safety and empower youth in our community. Overdose is a preventable cause of death, and we at GENup hope that with access and information to harm reduction on college campuses, we can save thousands of students' lives through AB 461 and prevent them from experiencing the same heartbreaking loss I had to go through. Thank you so much. And then I think I'll be passing it back to Alvin at this point, but I appreciate everyone for coming out today.
Before we move on to our next speaker, Assemblymember Berman, we have a quick short video message as well from Assemblymember McCarty, who we would like to shout out today.
Hi, GENup California. It's Kevin McCarty, your Assembly member. I just wanted to say hello and thank you for your work and for your advocacy on behalf of the millions of California college students. You know, last few years, you were on the front lines with us as we pushed for financial aid reform, expanding our Cal Grant and middle class scholarship programs, making college debt free. So I really appreciate your leadership in that. Plus the work last year and currently to expand state monies for student housing. It's such a big issue with housing insecurity and sometimes homelessness for college students. And so we're stepping up for the first time in California, investing state money to build student housing. My bill became law, and you were the sponsors with me of this important effort last year. So thank you, and let's keep up the work in 2023 and beyond.
Alrighty, thank you so much. And without further ado now, we'll pass it over to Fiona to introduce Assemblymember Berman, who we're working with on media literacy this year.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction, Alvin. So hi, everyone. My name is Fiona. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a high school senior, and I currently go to Northwood High School in Irvine Unified in Southern California. And it's my honor to introduce Assemblymember Berman, who was first elected to the California Assembly in 2016 and represents the 23rd Assembly District. He currently chairs the Assembly Business and Professions Committee and is authoring GENup student written bill AB 873 on media literacy this year. Take it away, Assemblymember Berman.
Awesome. Thank you, Fiona. Thanks for that kind introduction. Thank you so much to everyone from GENup for inviting me to be here today. And thank you for your partnership on AB 873, which will ensure that all K through 12 students receive instruction in media literacy. As you all know, the votes that we take and the laws that we pass in the legislature have the greatest, most lasting impact on young people. And I can't understate how imperative it is that young people organize to ensure that you have a say in these decisions that we're making. all of the legislators and the constitutional officers that have been here today and will follow me are a testament to the strength of GENup's organizing. I can't think of a more timely effort to partner with all of you on than on media literacy. Children and young people growing up in today's digital world need to be better equipped than any generation before to confront what appears on social media networks and digital platforms. And online misinformation jeopardizes public health, it compromises our progress addressing climate change, and it undermines democratic decision-making. We've all seen it firsthand. Getting your news from TikTok or Instagram isn't inherently bad. Neither is making up your mind because of something you read on Discord or Reddit. But whether it's tips or facts or opinions, news, ads, misinformation, or propaganda, these platforms spread media faster than ever before using algorithms that reinforce pre-existing beliefs without revealing the motivations behind the source. And I think we can all agree that everyone would benefit from media literacy education. I think the last, 5, 6, 7 years have made that abundantly clear. And I talk about this bill a lot. I talk about this bill a lot with groups that I talk about in my district. And I talk about how we're going to integrate media literacy concepts into K through 12 education. And I also emphasize, I wish I could get adults to take media literacy because they need it just as bad as anyone else. Unfortunately, I can't force them back into school. But I'm going to count on all of you to train the adults in your life to use better media literacy techniques in their lives when they're, and I trust me, it impacts me and my family as well, and adults and people my parents' age and my in-laws and their friends. So right now we have a chance. I can't do anything about adults, but we have a chance to equip the next generation with the tools to be successful in both the digital and real worlds. And the role of student voices in this effort has been critically important. So I really look forward to continuing to work with GENup and to seeing all of GENup's great work this year. Thank you all so much for letting me come by and say hi tonight.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Berman, once again for joining us, and we look forward to working with you to pushing through informational and media literacy to our 6 million public school students. Next up, I'm going to pass it over to Kate. Kate, feel free to take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kate. I'm a collegiate director of policy for GENup, and I am super excited to be introducing Assemblymember Akilah Weber today, the author of our GENup written bill, AB 1138. Dr. Weber represents California's 79th Assembly District as a medical doctor, educator, and co-chair of the Legislative Ethics Committee. So without any further ado, I'll pass it over to Assemblymember Weber.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for the invitation for coming to speak with you all today. I am a proud co-author of AB 1138, which would require higher education institutions to contract with local rape crisis centers or to provide students confidential transportation to and from local SAFE or SART exam centers to administer the SAFE kit. In the event of a sexual assault, the first form of care someone typically receives is medical care. And whenever possible, the patient should receive that from a licensed sexual assault examiner at a rape crisis center, hospital, or clinic. There, they can perform a forensic exam, address any physical injuries, perform testing for things like pregnancies and STIs, and provide preventative care such as emergency contraceptive pill. As a former forensic examiner myself when I was living in Dallas, I understand the importance of this bill. It will allow for students who have been victims of sexual assault to get the support and health care they need without having to worry about how they're actually going to get there. AB 1138 is a continuation of California's effort to remove barriers to reporting sexual assault and increase access to resources to help survivors achieve justice. I really want to thank GENup for bringing this bill to us and Ignite. This is such a very important issue, a critical issue, as we know that unfortunately sexual assaults on college campuses happens all too frequently. And so it is extremely important to make sure that those individuals receive the care and the support that they need. I want to thank you again for allowing me to be here. I want to thank you for your continued efforts to bring awareness to these issues that are facing victims of sexual assault. And also thank you for being a partner with me in making sure that we are eliminating barriers for people to receive access to adequate medical care. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Weber. GENup is incredibly proud to be the sponsor of AB 1138, GENup Collegiate specifically, to strive for student survivors of sexual assault to expand access to essential medical care and reporting resources. Just a few weeks after moving to UCLA, I myself was paralyzed by sexual assault. I could hardly manage to get out of bed, let alone function as a full-time student. My social circle shrank while my academic performance declined. The heartbreaking reality of undergraduate life came into sharp focus in my mind. Sexual violence is everywhere on college campuses. According to RAINN, the nation's largest sexual violence organization, 26% of female students and 7% of male students will experience sexual assault through force or incapacitation as an undergraduate. With only 1 in 5 female college-age survivors receiving assistance from a victim services agency, California students need AB 1138. Under the current system, the burden of coordinating care falls on students in crisis, with the average distance to a forensic exam location being 10.2 miles for UCs and CSUs and 22.7 miles for community colleges. Surfaces are often not accessible through public transportation at all. As many students do not have access to safe personal vehicles, survivors are forced to sacrifice their safety and limit their reporting options due to the inaccessibility of services. AB 1138 will require that California colleges and universities provide their students with free, safe, and anonymous transportation to and from forensic exams, creating more equitable pathways to care. So thank you again, Dr. Weber, for introducing this legislation, and we're incredibly excited to be working with you going forward. And with that, I will pass it back to Alvin to talk about some more K through 12 bills.
Thank you so much, Dr. Weber, once again, for joining us and sharing your story, and Kate as well. I'm going to pass it over to Rhea now to introduce Senator Menjivar.
Yeah, thanks so much, Alvin. So, hi everyone, my name is Rhea. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the co-chief of policy and legislative director with Fiona on the K through 12 team. And I'm so excited to introduce Senator Menjivar. So Senator Caroline Menjivar is representing California's 20th Senate District. She currently sits as the chair of the Budget Subcommittee on Health and Human Services. She also sits on Health Committee and Human Service Committee. So without further ado, Alvin can sort of play Senator Menjivar's video.
Hi everyone, Senator Caroline Menjivar here, representing District 20, which encompasses the entire city of Burbank and the majority of the San Fernando Valley. It is such a great honor to be able to speak to you on one important legislation that I'm looking to pass up in Sacramento, my SB 541, which is my Youth Health Equity and Safety Act. According to CDC's most recent report, STIs continue to be on the rise and we're dealing with an epidemic. Did you know that over 50% of the cases reported are among those with ages 15 to 24? We're talking about our youth right now, and youth of color are disproportionately represented in this group. And while California spends about $1 billion annually on STI healthcare, we still have a gap that needs to be closed, which is why SB 541 seeks to address the epidemic we're seeing here in California and nationwide. SB 541 is looking to do 4 different things. It's looking to require public schools to provide condoms both internally and externally in 2 locations in all public high schools. 2, it's looking to prohibit schools that are between the grades of 7 to 12 from prohibiting outside organizations, educational programs from coming in and providing these necessary resources. 3, it's prohibiting pharmacists, retailers from asking an ID when looking to purchase condoms, because what we're seeing right now is that our youth are being shamed, are having to provide proof that they're over 18, when legally you don't have to be over the age of 18 to purchase these things. And it's not deterring them from participating in sexual activity, but actually it's having them participate in sexual activity in an unsafe manner. And 4th, lastly, SB 541 is looking to provide a no wrong door for the HPV vaccine, because I want to make sure those between the ages of 12 and 18 who want to obtain the HPV vaccine can go to their local family pack center and receive that. because we know by providing condoms in school, we are meeting the youth where they are. I want to empower the youth so that when they make that personal decision to become sexually active, they have the necessary resources to stay safe. I am so proud that this legislation, SB 541, is being led by you, is being led by youth. And I'm standing here together with you to increase the safety of our youth. So join us, support SB 541. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful video message, Senator Menjivar. Next up, we're excited to introduce and pass it off to Senator Anthony Portantino, who has been a strong ally with us these last couple of years. We look forward to working with him on a plethora of critical legislation that he's authoring the cycle. So without further ado, Senator Portantino, passing it off to you.
Well, great. Thank you for having me. And I really appreciate everything that you do to advocate, frankly, for good public policy and certainly youth-centered public policy. I'm out of breath because I was going up the stairs, so don't get old. So I'm here to talk about SB 98. As you know, in California, we fund education based on attendance, where most states, all but 5, fund education based on enrollment. And why this is significant. School district budgets based on enrollment. You know, if you have 100 kids, you're going to budget for 100 kids enrolled. What we do in California, if kids are absent throughout the year, we take away money from those school districts, and the school districts still have the cost because they're based their expenditures on the enrollment. So we're penalizing school districts for absences. Somebody way back when had this idea that would incentivize attendance, which it doesn't. What it does is penalize school districts, and in particular, most urban school districts struggle with attendance, and so they get hit significantly. The LA Unified would see a significant increase in their allotment from the state if we budgeted based on enrollment. In particular, the pandemic exacerbated absences. There's multiple reasons why students are absent: transportation, daycare, all kinds of challenges in families. And so we're disproportionately penalizing those urban school districts by funding education based on attendance. And so most large states do exactly what I said in the beginning. They fund based on enrollment. So there's a huge social justice component to this issue, and we need to rectify this inequity in public policy and in how we fund and how we support our schools. The other piece of it is a portion of the new revenue would be set aside for increasing enrollment strategies, truancy strategies, outreach to communication to families, helping kids get to school. So that's also important. Having the lion's share of the money be discretionary is important, but having a piece of it be earmarked for attendance-based strategies makes sense. And so that's what SB 98 does. LA Unified is a strong supporter of the bill, as is the California School Employees Association. And so we're hoping to get it through, and this is the time to make this significant social justice change and certainly have a better financial model for our education.
Thank you so much, Senator Portantino. And once again, we look forward to working with you on SB 95, as well as other
98, SB 98.
Apologies, 98, as well as other mental health bills this year that you're hearing that we're sponsors of. So thank you for all you do, and we're excited for our partnership together this year.
Absolutely, thank you. Be well.
Next up, I'm going to pass it over to Fiona to introduce Assembly Member Ortega.
Thank you so much. So hi, everyone, back again, Fiona, and I'm a high school senior at Irvine Unified, and I'm here to introduce Assemblymember Ortega, who represents District 20, which includes Hayward, San Leandro, most of Union City, and portions of Dublin and Pleasanton. I'm working on her bill AB 800, which GENup is a proud co-sponsor of, which would really elevate student worker rights and make sure that students are informed of their rights, especially because a lot of students who work part-time jobs in school are from low-income families and communities, and really making sure that they aren't exploited at the workplace. So I'll pass it on to Assemblymember Ortega.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I apologize, I'm calling from the road, but I'm safe. Thank you all so much for supporting AB 800. It is my priority legislation that will do just that. Make sure that our high school kids are going into the workplace, understand their rights. Many of the things that we pass as legislators often don't get taught in the schools, and we have a large number of kids going into the workplace and being injured or being sexually harassed. And so this bill will ensure that not only are students educated about their rights on the job, but they know where to go when they need to report incidents. And if they're interested in organizing a union, they know where to go to do that as well. So thank you so much for supporting AB 800. And please, since we announced this bill, we've had tremendous amount of support in terms of social media and students sharing their stories on TikTok and on Instagram. So if you can join in that and tell your story so we can strengthen the reason for why we need AB 800 now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Assemblywoman Ortega, for joining us today, and we look forward to working with you on AB 800 as well as a host of other bills. Next up, I'd like to introduce President Ted Lempert of Children Now, a very fantastic allied organization of ours that has been very critical and instrumental to our work. So without further ado, Ted, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Alvin. And just listening to some of the great legislative pro-kid champions that you've been hearing from and others, I'm just wishing back when I was in the legislature that GENup was around. But I'm thrilled that now that I'm an advocate, that Children Now has GENup as a very, very close partner. And I will say with all sincerity, we work with over 5,000 organizations across the state to the children's movement. But the work you guys are doing is extraordinary. And I just was meeting with former State Board President Mike Hurst, and we were talking about how when it comes to education advocacy groups, GENup stands out, and that's among all groups. And so as a student-led group, you guys have just been truly extraordinary. And as I've shared with many of you before, it's far past time we talk about students as the leaders of tomorrow. You're the leaders of today, and you're showing that. And we've just enjoyed working with you so much, whether it be on the mental health crisis that's affecting our schools, whether the need for more transparency and so much progress we need to make on education equity. I just want to salute you guys. I know as a former legislator, there's nothing more powerful than student voice, but you're truly helping to reshape the education equity landscape in California. So I look forward to much more partnership in the future with you. But again, what you've done and the level of success in moving legislation and policies through is extremely extraordinary, and you should all feel very proud for that work.
Thank you so much, Ted, and Children Now as well for being just such a fantastic ally and partner of ours. And we look forward to working with you all this year as well and making it a fantastic success. Next up, I'd like to introduce Assemblymember Alex Lee. So Assemblymember Lee, feel free to take it away.
Hey everyone, great to see all GENup crew here today. As you saw maybe earlier on the Zoom, I was totally suited up and in the Capitol literally right now, and now I'm hecka dressed down and I'm wearing my Defend DACA shirt. So that is the versatile life of being the only 20-something year old legislator in the state legislature. So, my big thing is, as everyone has talked about is, and especially as a previous speaker talked about, is they really wish that there was this organized youth voice and organizing happening back in their day, right? But the reality is we have it now, and there's so much amazing change that's happening literally right now from all the bills you're sponsoring and helping. That's real policy being made. Even when I'm as a staffer, just, like 4 or 5 years ago, there was no real organized youth voice, so to say. So you would have a lot of people speaking for the youth, right? And people, the meme was like, I love the young people, is they would always have those kind of discussions in bills. And now you're actively putting those things through, whether it be changing curriculum, how schools work, how school board members are compensated, many of which I've already voted for or co-authors on, or also how do we make sure that more young people actually matter, right? Matter in elections. We hear over and over again this tired trope that young people are going to save democracy, that they're so important, et cetera, et cetera. And you also hear the tired trope that young people aren't voting, right? all the statistics keep showing that the 18 to 24 year range, which I've unfortunately graduated out of now, is not voting. But why is that the case? And I always say it's the case because we do not see ourselves, our issues, ourselves in candidates, in measures that are up for vote, right? Because if you care about something, you'll vote for it. That's why millions of people used to vote for all these reality TV shows, right? And they would call in, text, and people care about it. And what you're doing is making sure that more and more people care about democracy. You understand the policy decisions that are happening. And I will tell you too, as someone who in high school really didn't do very much except go to school and hang with my friends, you're all way ahead, no matter where you are in this, where you're at in life right now. But at the university level, I was a student senator. I was then the president at UC Davis. So especially shout out to all the Aggies out there. But it's really important to get involved because these early experiences you're having are the sandbox and the foundational skills for you to one day take my record and be elected at 24 years old, maybe the youngest state legislator right after me. So if you can beat my record, that is a challenge I want. But will really be great one day. And I look forward to seeing you all in policy making decision-making capacities, whatever it is, whether it's writing the policy, being behind the scenes, being elected office, whatever it is, I know you all will change the world. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Lee, for joining us, and we look forward to working very closely with you as well, particularly not only given your status as the youngest legislator in the California State Legislature, but as someone who really understands the fellow young and youth perspective. We're very grateful for your support. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to working with you. Next up, we're going to pass it over to Senator Cortese. Unfortunately, he is currently caught in a Senate Labor Committee meeting, so he is unable to step out right now, but we have someone from the staff who will be joining us today. So I'm going to pass it over to Hla.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Hela El-Khatib. I am a legislative aide in the Office of Senator Cortese, and I will be reading his statement on behalf of him since he's still in committee. Good evening, everyone. I'm proud to have authored several bills sponsored by GENup during my time in the legislature. GENup students and young adults have provided lead testimony during committee hearings, led lobbying efforts, and worked with me to craft innovative policy proposals for our future. Last year, we worked on SB 1184 to improve California's school-based student mental health services, inspired by my work at Santa Clara County on the School Link Services Program. This will better connect students and families to county mental health counseling, case management, and public health services on district and school site campuses statewide. This year, we're working together to champion guaranteed income for homeless 12th grade high school students. Approximately 270,000 students within California's K-12 school system are experiencing homelessness. This number has increased by over 48% in the last decade. About 15,000 of these students are in the 12th grade. This bill is a no strings attached guaranteed income model that will empower these youth to use the funds as they see fit, whether that be entering into the workforce or pursuing higher education. Other guaranteed income programs, including the one that I piloted in Santa Clara County to serve transition age foster youth, have proven to be successful, and the results have demonstrated that guaranteed income reduces income volatility significantly, helps people find full-time employment, and improves physical and mental health. And it creates new opportunities for people. SB 333 will equip youth experiencing homelessness with the financial resources to embark on a path towards stability and success. Thank you to GENup for your continued partnership, and I look forward to the work ahead of us.
Thank you so much for representing this and for authoring this really important bill to ensuring economic stability for all youth pursuing their lives after high school. So now I have the pleasure to introduce the next speaker, Senator Skinner. Definitely really close to home. As my Berkeley representative for Senate District 9, Nancy Skinner currently serves also as the chair of Senate's Budget and Fiscal Review Committee and of the California Legislative Women's Caucus. So I pass it off to Senator Skinner at this point.
Kimberly, thank you so much. And for, I think you said you're a constituent, you live in District 9, great. And thank you, GENup, for supporting my most recent effort, SB 274, to eliminate willful defiance suspensions. You may not know, but I have been trying to get rid of this very subjective category of suspensions, which have been used disproportionately on our Black kids, our Latino kids, and our kids with disabilities, and even our LGBTQ kids. So I first carried a bill in this space, I think back when I was in the assembly. Then I got it a little bit further. All we were able to do originally to just eliminate it for kindergarten to third grade, which seemed so absurd to me. How could a kindergartner be willfully defiant? That's to me impossible, but still. So, and then we were successful getting a much broader policy, but Governor Brown would not support it and decided instead he wanted to see the data. He wanted the proof of what we knew. And so we had to collect data, which of course it showed exactly what we know, that this very subjective category of suspensions that were kicking kids out of school. And of course, if you're kicked out of school, you are far less likely to be successful in school. That school is telling you, we don't want you. You're no good. So how do you expect to be successful in school if it's kicking you out? So we got the data, and the data, of course, shows exactly what we thought, which is that Black kids, brown kids, LGBTQ kids are the kids that get these willful defiance suspensions. And fortunately, a lot of our larger school districts already eliminated this crazy category of suspensions. So that's helped too. But today we were in committee and we got a unanimous vote, not only to lift the sunset on the suspensions we've been able to eliminate so far, which was up to 8th grade, we also extending it to high school. So thank you for your support. I'm just so hopeful that the assembly, that the Appropriates Committee and the assembly will welcome this just the same as the Senate Education Committee has so far. And your good work, you are the largest youth-led advocacy coalition in our state. So I'm so glad to have student voices here at the table expressing to us policymakers what it is that our youth need. So I really, really appreciate you, appreciate your support, and we're going to go for victory.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words, Senator Skinner, and once again for everything that you do to fight for us California students. And we very much look forward to working with you on carrying this bill to the finish line this year, as well as other bills in your packages this year. So thank you so much once again, Senator Skinner, for your partnership. We look forward to working with you this year.
Great, welcome.
Next up, I'd like to introduce Senator Josh Becker, who is currently my representative in the legislature, where I am currently doing a little whammy off of Kim. And Senator Becker is a fantastic advocate, not only for students and youth, but also for climate action in California. So without further ado, Senator Becker, I'm going to pass it over to you to take away.
All right, how's everyone doing? You've had a lot of series of luminaries, which is fantastic. I'm gonna move this up so you don't see my messy bottom shelf, but I don't know if that's gonna work. Anyway, this is fantastic. Really a tribute to you, Alvin, and the whole team, getting all these people to come and comment on your legislative agenda, and then you going through the work of, obviously, initially of picking the legislative agenda and figuring out which issues to focus on and rallying folks. It's awesome. Last year, I had the free community college bill, and the great news, it's working. In San Mateo County, our community college, we're up 15% year over year, where most community college attendance is down, and we're up 65% in first-time college goers. So it's been a massive success. We've shown that free, truly free community college means no fees, nothing, can have a massive impact on youth, as well as adults who want to go back and get a degree. So we need to make sure that our community colleges are really fully utilized, and people realize the fantastic transfer benefits that a third of our UC students are actually transfers to community college, and we want to make that community college pathway open to and super welcoming for all. This year, I'm working on focusing on climate and environment and some other things, but I look through your agenda. You've got a lot of terrific bills, and that's what's incredible. The platform here in California, we're the 4th largest economy in the world, And if we change things here, it can have a massive impact. Remember, there's more low-income students in just in one UC, in UC Berkeley, than all the Ivy Leagues combined, for example. So we're a massive, as a founding trustee of UC Merced, and UC Merced is now 5th in the country for social mobility, already, even as a young university. So we're having a massive impact in social mobility. I just want to, for future reference, as Australia, I said, hey, how do loans work? They said 90% of people take loans. And then if you graduate, then once you achieve certain income levels, then you start to pay back your loans. And that's just a much more humane, smarter way of doing it. I'd love to see over time if we could move to some kind of system like that, and not make people start pay back loans when they haven't graduated, and they don't have the right income, and they're not at that income level. There's just a much smarter way to do this over time. That's a longer term fight, and love to take that on with all of you, and just appreciate the work that you're doing this year to move us forward. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Senator Becker, once again, for joining us here today. We look forward to working with you on critical pieces of legislation. Appreciate your support. Next up, I'd like to introduce Senator Scott Wiener, the chair of the Senate Housing Committee. Senator Wiener, feel free to take it away.
Thank you. Am I on video? Okay, good. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. And I really want to thank you for standing with us last year on SB 866, our teen vaccine bill. We were all disappointed that we weren't able to get it out of the assembly, but I'm really proud of the work that our coalition did to pass it through the Senate and get it all the way to the assembly floor. We were a few votes short, but it was a really strong showing. I'm just so grateful for your collaboration. This year we are, I want to just mention, and I think you're supporting SB 238, our youth mental health bill, to require when insurance companies deny mental health coverage to anyone under the age of 26, that there's an automatic independent medical review, which when those happen, they have a very high success of overturning the coverage denial and getting people the mental health treatment that they need. And so that bill is, I think, just incredibly important, because we know that so many young people are struggling right now with mental health challenges. It was a problem before the pandemic. The pandemic made it worse. We know that mental health problems tend to arise during teenage or college age years. And if we can get people into treatment quickly, we can get people healthy and turn it around. If we let it fester, we risk long-term problems. And so we want to make sure with SB 238 that we're getting that done. We're also doing a lot of great housing work this year, trying to make it faster and easier to get housing approved, particularly multi-unit, and try to really address our housing crisis and the multi-million home shortage we have in California, which is pricing people out and sending a signal to young people that there may not be the future that we want. So we're trying to fix that. And last year, of course, we were able to pass SB 886 to streamline housing approvals on campuses at UC, CSU, and community colleges. We're going to be doing some cleanup on that bill this year to make it as effective as possible. So stay tuned. And I'm just really grateful for your collaboration and excited for the work ahead.
Thank you so much, Senator Wiener, for joining us here today, and we look forward to working with you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck with everything. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next up, our second to last speaker will be Assemblymember Bennett, who helped carry our student board member bill into law last year, AB 824, and is running another incredible student board member legislation this year. And Assemblymember Bennett was unfortunately unable to make it today because also currently is in a committee hearing that he's leading, but he did generously record a video for today's event, so I'll be playing that right now.
Hello, I'm Assemblymember Steve Bennett. I represent the 38th District in the California Legislature. That's Western Ventura County. You know, I was a high school teacher for 20 years before I was elected to office, and I was always inspired and motivated by the enthusiasm, the energy, and the idealism of young people. And we need all of those characteristics from you now more than ever. You know, we have democracies always have a challenge when they have slow evolving problems like climate change or the overuse of groundwater. We always need a crisis before there's enough public support and enough political energy to really address a problem. We can't afford to do that this time. We have to have more urgency, and we need you to help us create that urgency. You're going to learn an awful lot in the GENup program. I'm so proud of that program that I carried a bill in my very first year in the legislature, and we were able to get a bill that you guys wrote passed through the legislature. So enjoy what you're doing, but more importantly, learn a lot so that you can make great contributions now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. Set your sights high. I know your mission statement is to try to make the impossible possible, and if there's ever a time that we need that, it's now. We need to make the impossible possible to make sure we leave a much better world for you and all the generations after you. Thanks a lot. Good luck to you guys.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Bennett, once again for submitting that video. Finally, to tie in our policy slate unveiling today, we thought no individual would be more fitting than our very own state superintendent of public instruction, Superintendent Tony Thurmond, who leads the California Department of Education and California's public school system. So thank you so much, Superintendent Thurmond, and we'll play his recorded remarks right now.
Hey everybody, Tony Thurmond here, California State Superintendent of Public Instruction. It's my honor to work with California's 10,000 schools to make sure that they have all the resources that they need to support our students' learning and their development. A big part of my job is supporting legislation and sponsoring legislation that can help to improve issues in education. And in that way, I'm grateful for everyone at GENup, and I want to say congratulations on this youth policy unveiling. I can't wait to see what GENup does next, and I'm standing by and looking forward to working closely with you. I'm grateful for work we've done over the years to get passage of AB 261. As you know, that bill requires every school board in the state to have a student voting member. And now we're working together as co-sponsors on SB 98 to provide schools with the resources to address chronic absenteeism, to get our students back in school and to make sure they have the supports that they need. I hope you work with me on the bill that I've authored, that I'm sponsoring, SB 760. It's an all-gender bathrooms bill requirement so that our schools have safe bathrooms and safe spaces to support all of our students, including our LGBTQ+ students, our trans students, and supporting all students to have safety. As you know, I've created the first ever statewide youth advisory council at the California Department of Education so that young people can advise me and the governor and the legislature on all things related to education from the standpoint of a youth perspective. I'm proud of you for your accomplishments in the 23 sponsored bills that you've gotten signed into law, and looking forward to working with you on whatever comes next. Thank you for what you've done to help us get an ethnic studies graduation requirement, to address the needs for mental health of our students, to continue to address guns in our schools and keeping communities safe and getting gun reform. I'm so proud of you and what you are doing. Please know you are making a difference in every step of the way. And the things that you value are things that I value, having youth voice. For me, it goes back to my days as a school board member where I created the first ever youth commission at our school district. But even before that, when I was a high school student senator, when I served as my university's student body president, and as a graduate student, having the chance to be a liaison to our university's board of trustees. What you're doing matters, and I'm grateful for the incredible work that you all are doing. So congratulations on the policy unveiling, and looking forward to continuing to work with you and everyone at Team GENup as we go forward.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Thurmond, on those remarks, and he could not have closed it any better. So on that fantastic and inspiring note, thank you all everyone for joining us today for our GenUp 2023 policy slate unveiling. We very much looking forward to working with everyone that spoke here today to champion through not only our 8 student-written bills, but our 40+ bill strong slate into law and making a transformative impact for not only our state's 6 million public high school students, but 3 million college students in the UC, CSU, and community college system. So thank you all, everyone, once again for joining us here today. You can view our policy slate once again at tinyurl.com/GenUp-policy22-23. Once again, thank you all so much for joining us here today, and we look forward to making an impact for our state's students. Thank you all.